Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Alex Abuyuan.
Oh, you can keep the applause track going. I wouldn't be sad. Oi, oi, oi! Welcome, mates. I'm sorry, that's the best New Zealand accent I have. Anyway, man, it's so great to be out there. Welcome to Alliance Nation, to our activity call. I've been honored and blessed to be asked to share with you. Andy's been on the road, killing it. And I'm so fired up because I had a bunch of people in front of him in Chicago, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh. So, man, it's been awesome. I love it when our leader goes out there to help us build our businesses. And all we have to do is invite people. What a concept. We don't got to be the magic, right? I've never wanted to be the magic of my business, man. I wanted to duplicate myself so that other people were the magic and other people duplicated the magic and my business grows. So when Andy's the magic and I can point to him. So thank you, Andy Albright, for getting in your plane and thank you, Jane Albright, for letting us have him. I mean, that's, she's made a serious sacrifice, giving up Andy for us. So, we love you, Jane, and thank you so much for sharing Andy with us. But now Andy's back, and so we appreciate Andy getting out there. Anyway, so we're going to rock it today. We're going to teach you. We're going to help you, whether you're brand new or you're getting a new agent started. We're going to teach you how to get them going fast. But here's the other thing. We're going to teach you how to get them going fast, but also how to sustain them going fast. And if going fast means slowing down to get them started, then you got to slow down to go fast. So we're going to cover these concepts, and I'm excited for my buddies on the call that are going to help me share this with you. I got my buddy Jake and Ray and Dennis, and we're going to do our best to give you our best. And they've got some tremendous upline leadership, but we ultimately all learn from Mr. Andy Albright, and appreciate Andy for giving us the mentorship and also the ability and the room to lead our people. He's always keeping me on track. Every little thing he does, man. I know I'm off track when I'm communicating with Andy. So learn this. When you're not communicating with your growing upline who's mentoring you, it means you're probably going off track. I think it was one of the major ship disasters. I don't know specifically the Titanic, but it was, I think, the Lusitania or something like that, that the reason why they went adrift and ran into an iceberg was that the navigator's pencil wasn't sharp. And so every time he was plotting out their course, they went off course by a few degrees. So when you take a few degrees off course over a period of nautical miles, you end up getting way off course, right? And so one of the things I learned from Andy is I got to keep talking to him, because I'll drift off course and not know that I did until I talk to Andy. Then he puts me back on course, and it can spell disaster, right? So one of the real keys with getting a new person started is communication. And it's not you, the upline, depending on them to call you. It's you reaching out and developing that relationship. The reason why I've been in the business long enough, not long enough, I'm going to be, NAA, till I die, right? Anyway, is that I've been talking to Andy. He's kept my head right. He's helped my family. So I've been very grateful. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first guest. We're going to talk about getting a new person started under the simple 3-letter LLC, List License Conference. And I'm going to introduce Jake, and I think it's just Jake. Yeah, Jake Bradley. And we're going to, Jake Joseph, we're going to get them going for Ray Bradley. I keep forgetting. My buddy Jake, under the awesome Joseph Dukes and Mike Leventovich Smoking Organization. And I have the distinction of being the great granddad. That's why this is gray down here. Not because of you, Jake, but because I'm the great granddad. So I I love what you and Bray are doing, building your business, and you got an awesome family. I was talking about you the other day to someone. I was talking about, remember when back in the day, when we were like in our 30s, when we were doing this business, and he goes, "Yeah, I remember Jake and Bray. They got so much energy. It's like I used to remember when I used to be like them, Jeannie and I." But anyway, appreciate you guys. So let it rip, Jake. Share your nuggets of wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Alex and Jenny, Andy and Jane, Mike and Noel, Joseph and Venus, Jera. I mean, so many people to thank, right? Um, but man, we have gotten. I love that you say the great grandfather. It's hilarious because it's just like we've got so many people, so many leaders that we can that have been poured into us. I remember from real early on, Alex, a video that you had done on your YouTube channel about scheduling. And Vray and I took that to heart, and it's something that we've shown our team to do as well, is how to coordinate those A, B, C, D, E activities and put the big blocks first. And so that way we can make sure our schedule looks right. But yeah, no, this is big. This has been I'm honored for you to have me jump on this call because I've been told the best way to learn something is to teach it. So hopefully all this helps for everyone out there on YouTube land, but really I'm just going to kind of talk to myself a little bit as well, if that's okay, because I know there's things that I got to make sure I stay consistent with. But it's funny because you talk on this topic, and I remember early on with President's Club, Celine at PC always had a bunch of sticky notes on her computer, Noel Leventovich, and I just make sure I have that. It's backwards in my camera, but hopefully you see that. I just have that stuck on my monitor, so that way I always remind myself. But yeah, talking about the LLC list license convention, touching on those first two is big. It's in the Millionaire Maker Manual. Andy talks about it. I know Mike and Noel and Joseph has always talked about it to us. But using those three simple things to get someone new started quickly, really early on. And so breaking it down, I know one of the first steps, hey, someone's excited and someone wants to get started. Obviously, as far as helping families and getting them with their, helping them with their insurances, we've got to get our license. We have to be authorized and deputized. Noel says it all the time. We're in negotiations with the state to where we can get around that. They're just not in negotiations with her, but it's something we've got to do. Now, the nice part is with working with a new agent, remember the license doesn't always stay that, oh, they've got to get their license. That soon turns into, okay, selling, and it's helping them lead plan and go over their weekly numbers. But as far as someone brand new, talking about the license side, is when I thought about what I was going to share, I'm kind of thinking of, hey, what did Jera have us do, right? So when Varay and I first started, and this is what we're teaching our team, is we're excited, we're ready to go, jump into class right away and set the expectations. And also at the same time, we're scheduling our test right away. Because when I think about it, it's, if I go back to high school, which was just a couple of years ago, right? They told us about our finals, right? Our midterms. And the teacher tells you a specific day, whatever day that is, right? They don't leave it. They don't just tell you last minute, oh, your finals are today, let's go. No, they have it scheduled. So that way we know we can prepare, and goal is not to procrastinate, right? Where we've seen, because we've done it, if we haven't done that, some people they get in and then they never get out of class. So that's a big part, is setting that expectation of, hey, we're going to get in class right away to get our license, and we're going to schedule our test at the same exact time, so we have a deadline. Anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, you can crank that class out to 7 days, right? And it's all big about scheduling, okay? Is hey, what does your work schedule look like? What kind of breaks do you have, right? When I was going through this class to get through it quickly, I knew I had a coffee break at 9 a.m., I had a lunch break at 12, and I had another coffee break at 3 p.m. And then the girls were down by 8:30, and I had, from 8:30 until I fell asleep to work on this class, right? So we have to look, scheduling is big when we're getting people started quickly, is we need to know what time they have in order to do this. Maybe some things they have to delegate, some things they got to eliminate to get completely out of their schedule, right? Another part of the licensing phase is once we get the license, get through class quickly. Don't take long. Okay, whatever your mentor, your leader is telling you, please just walk in faith. Have the childlike faith. They're not telling you something that's going to hurt you. I promise you that. Please just have trust in them, have faith in them, because they're not going to steer you wrong. They're telling you to do something for a reason. Like, someone told you to jump on this call today. They told you for a reason, right? So that's just big, and that's a key. Now, as soon as a new agent has their license, it doesn't have to take long for them to get up and running. Literally, as soon as those contracts are signed, some carriers, we can do e-apps right away. Some carriers, we can do paper apps right away. As soon as you have your license, you do carrier contracts, you can move fast. Like, within that same week you get it, you can be out there helping families. Okay. Now, again, I encourage you, whoever it is, your upline manager, your mentor who's coaching you and guiding you, just do exactly what they say. But we were quick into, like, personal use. Jara was just like, hey, got to write a policy on yourself. Ray and I sat down, we wrote policies on ourselves. Then we sat down with some of our own family. I sat down with my mom. Ray sat down with her parents, wrote up our first app. So we knew we were comfortable with what we were doing. They just told us, hey, do it right away. And then it was just into leads. Now, I'm sharing a little bit of our experience. I know I've also messed up, I'll be honest. So when we're talking about licenses, helping our team just to guide them and show them exactly what to do, and breaking down what, like, if their weekly goal is, using that income planning sheet. So on the licensing side of things, again, it quickly goes from getting the license into actually selling. So is getting an idea, what are their goals? What do they need to have every week? Because if we don't have a target, we're just aimlessly shooting. We have nothing to compare it to. So what do we need every week? And then jumping into the dials and running the appointments. If there's anything that I can share from experience, is I tiptoed too much. Like Jara and Joseph and Mike and Noel, they were just like, jump right in, make a mess, don't be scared. Have faith in the system, trust the system, because no one's going to guide you wrong. Okay. So I know that's real quick, high level, going through and getting the licensing part done. But again, don't waste time getting through class. Just get it done. Schedule the test right away. And as soon as you're completed with something, like from a new agent perspective, is from the leader side, we have to, like Alex said, we have to be reaching down. We have to be calling them, hey, how's it going? Where can we help? Where are you at? Where are you stuck? But from the agent side is the number one question, hey, what's next? I did this. Hey, what's next? Hey, what's next? Okay. But really, if we're utilizing the full opportunity that we have here at the Alliance, and I hope we all are, and again, I'm even talking to myself again here, is that list side. Okay. When I came into this, I wanted more time. I wanted more time freedom. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that wants to spend more time traveling, or spend more time with your kids or your spouse, or, whatever it is, right? And that's what we wanted. And we knew at the end of the day that we only had 168 hours. We only knew we could only sell so much. So we've got to build a business. We've always wanted to be our own boss. And my buddy, Mr. Joseph Dukes there in Puerto Vallarta, you guys can't see him, but he just popped up there. I love it.
Our surprise guest.
Yeah, surprise guest is that you can build something that you can have this form of passive income coming in. And the man himself, Joseph Dukes, told me, he said, when we jump into this list part, because this is important, is it's selfish to not share this with people you know and love. It's just selfish, okay? And one of the big things that we may have in our minds is that, oh, well, I'm gonna wait until I know what I'm doing and this and that for me to share it with people. And I love what Mark Aceta has taught us, because he uses this analogy, and I hope I can share this story as good as he does. I probably won't, because he's Mark Aceta. Yet this is what he taught us is, let's say I wanted to learn how to ski or snowboard. If you all have ever heard of Shaun White, X Games gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist, he is bad to the bone, right? He's got the crazy orange hair. If he had invited, let's say you've never gone skiing or snowboarding before, and he had invited you a day up, he calls you up and you wanted to go, he invites you on a day on the mountain, and he's like, I know you've never done this before, but I'm going to show you everything I know. By the end of the day, I'm going to get you riding down this mountain without falling on your butt. Okay. And you're like, oh, awesome. Right. And you start thinking of it of like, well, I could, I got a couple buddies that want to learn how to snowboard, that want to learn how to ski, but shoot, I'm just going to wait. I know Shaun White's this gold medalist, and he's going to be able to teach me, but I'm just going to wait to see if I can do it first. And if he can teach me how to do it. And if I can't, then I probably won't. Right. I won't tell my friends. I want to wait till I'm good. But it's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Why would you have that mentality? Like, your buddy could be way better than you are, but we just don't know it yet. We got to get him on the mountain with one of these, with a Shaun White, right? With an Alex Abuyuan, with a Joseph Dukes, with a Mike and Tovich. They know what they're doing. Just because we're brand new doesn't, we have buddies. Like, I knew a lot more people that killed it compared to it. I had a little bit of learning curve. And if I would have waited, we never would have found out, right? So I remember Joseph Dukes was just like, hey, get me a list of 10 people. Who are your top 10 buddies? And we were just like, awesome, like, sweet. Like, yeah, that's easy for me. Because honestly, I didn't know how to mention it to him. I was a little bit nervous. I was a little bit in a shell, right? But when Joseph reached down to me and was like, hey, I'm going to help you with this, I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah, sure, let me do this. Because in my head, I was like, I just don't know how to approach him. I don't want to throw up on him. So as leaders, as we're getting new people started fast, we have to reach down and we need to walk with them and say, hey, I'm gonna walk with you on this. I'm gonna help you build this business. If you communicate, if you ask the questions, I'm gonna be there every step of the way, and I'm gonna help you with this. So, if you see the potential, even if you don't see it, just walk in faith, trust in the system, because we know we all have leaders here that will help us build this thing, because I know we've seen it. I know a lot of our team has seen it, but that list part is, if there's one thing that I can share, is do that right off the bat. Talk with your upline, talk with your coach and say, hey, I need some help talking to a few of my buddies. Can you help me with it? And same as leaders, we have to reach down. Hey, you told me you wanted to make money fast. You told me you wanted to do this and this and this. This is what's going to help us get you to that goal quicker.
That's awesome, dude. You rocked it. Thanks, Jake. Wow. Folks, you listened to one of our best out there, man. So thank you. I want to bring Joseph Dukes on, my buddy living the life. I thought, man, he said, oh, I'd love to be up. I'm going to be in Mexico. I go, what? You're going to be in Mexico? He goes, yeah, I'm sorry, man. And I said, well, dude, there's a way you can plug in. I'd love to have your perspective on the call and getting people started. And sure enough, man, Mr. Faithful in Puerto Vallarta. And I said, man, don't pack your weapon in your backpack and don't get arrested down there. He said, got that covered, bro. Anyway, Joseph Dukes, you are the man, the myth, the legend, and appreciate you being on here in Puerto Vallarta. It's so cool. I mean, you're living a life, and you earned your way there to have that freedom to go. And so to kind of piggyback on what Jake talked about, when you're working with a new agent, getting them going, you got them into licensing, you got their list. At what point do you continue to invest in them? And then at what point do you need to pull the plug? Like, we only have limited time to work. Your people are still in the field selling, they're recruiting, they're working with people. In your opinion, how do you discern who to work with and who to stop working with?
That's a great question, Alex. Hey, thanks for inviting me on the call. And yeah, it's I want to give a big shout out to Jake, because it's one thing, it's cool when you see, like, I have 2 grown kids, and like I look at Jake and Bray and I watch them grow from when they started to where they're at now. And I remember the first call I was on with you, Alex, that was 15 years ago. as a, you know, as a young punk kid, and you were telling me about exactly what Jake was just talking about, which is calendaring. Dude, you're going to be a slave to your calendar, a slave to your checkbook. What do you want to be a slave to? And that has been stuck in my head for the last 15 years. And the cool thing is that I love what Mark says about what Mark Aceta says about work with people who earn your time. And some people can take that as like kind of a whole thing. Like, what do you mean earn your time? Like, what do you mean? I'm just like, hey, you know, it's exactly what you said. We have a limited amount of time. There's 168 hours in a day, and we all have a amount of emotional bandwidth that we can invest. And just knowing that the people who are asking for help, in fact, at the beginning of the conversation I like to have with, and it was something I had with Jake, was I told him, I says, hey man, if you're willing to invest time in you and you're willing to ask for coaching, I mean, this is we're a 1099 position. We're a volunteer army. And so many of us came to this business not from the business ownership. I came here from the workforce. So I was used to having a boss tell me what to do. I was used to having a manager, you know, my manager tell me what to do. So when I came here and started hiring people, I realized that a lot of times people are waiting for me to tell them what to do. And so what I have to do is I had to set the expectation up front with people and say, hey, listen, I'm here to help you. I'm here to contribute to you and support you. And what I need you to do is I need you to lean and ask me a ton of questions. I know a question I had of Andy a long time ago. I was in a meeting and I heard someone say, Andy, who is it that you like to work with? And he says, I like to work with the easy ones. And then I asked him, I'm like, what's an easy one? Like, I mean, what does that mean? And he says, the ones that are asking me and then coming back and asking again and coming back and asking again. And I believe that never ends. I don't think that you get to a certain level in this business. I mean, I talk to Mike and Noel almost daily, and they talk to Andy all the time. You know, I know that leaders are always, if you're looking to grow, you're always looking to reach up to the next growing leader and trying to grow. So as far as when I invest, I want to invest right from the beginning. I want to invest my time, you know, give people, I find that if I can give someone a touch point and say, hey, here's one thing to do. Like, can you get your list together and then give them a time frame? Can you sit down this afternoon and spend an hour and open up your Facebook Messenger, open up your phone and start out and say, who do I know who's intelligent, resourceful, ambitious? Who do I know who's not a jerk? Like that's like the one prereq I got. If we're going to hire people out of your personal, you know, address book, let's not hire a guy who's a jerk. Let's hire someone who's fun. Let's hire someone. I don't know if they want to do this business. I don't know, but let's just ask them. And so being willing to tell them, hey, listen, this is the first step of what we need to do. And can you do this today? And then let's follow up tomorrow at X amount of time. Alex, you know, right from the beginning, you've talked to me about BAM, 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 BAM. And I have to remember that not everyone understands what that acronym means. It means book a meeting from a meeting, which means that if I am talking to Jake, what I must do is if I'm going to give him a task, I need to come back and act as his manager and say, hey, bro, can you get this done? And then can we talk tomorrow at 2:00? And then we're going to start going through your list. And then at that point, if Jake shows up and he didn't do it, I'll be like, hey, man, what happened? And then if he gives me a story, I'm like, okay, hey, cool. Cool. Hey, listen, my schedule's kind of full. In fact, it's really full. I can probably, let's rebook this on Thursday. I'm going to have a chunk of time and I'm giving the person, I'm giving them rope to climb out of the hole. Now some people say I'm going to give them enough rope to hang themselves. No, I think that everyone deserves a chance to dig themselves out of the hole that they are in. Now, at the same time, this is all choice. Yeah, everyone gets to choose what they're going to do. So I'm just like, hey man, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to invest in you as much as you're willing to invest in you. Are you willing to do this? Yes. Okay, great. And then it's back and forth and back and forth. Now, I'm just going to be completely transparent. That whole Bam Fam thing, it's something that I still have to remind myself and my staff on every day. Because there's lots of times I'm just like, oh yeah, I talked to this new guy, crazy sharp, is awesome. And then I'm talking to my staff late, and then she's like, great, when's he Bam Fam for? And I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, can you call him and book him back into my calendar? Because this needs to happen like now, because I dropped the ball. So it's not like wallowing in the fact that I screwed up. It's like, let's fix it pronto and get back on it. And then really, if the person stops showing up, or if they tell me what they're going to do more than they really are doing it, because this is the doing business. It's a whosoever doeth business. So if whosoever doeth the worketh getteth my timeth, and then getteth the promotioneth. And now it's not like I have a lisp, but it's the way it works, man. It's like we gotta put the work in, and then the other thing is praise people. Like I need to be the biggest praiser of people who are working. Hey man, this is awesome. This is going to be great. Hey, remind me again. So what is it that you're really fighting for? What is it that you see that this business can do for you? And I have to write that down so I can come back and remind them when they trip and fall and get a boo-boo on their knee. Because we all trip and fall and get boo-boos on our knees. We all need that, and especially as a new person. So that's really where, if I can, and I'm going to scoot back in, and if they stop, if they're slowing down or stopping, I'm going to continue to reach out. And it's never personal. Like if someone stops, if someone leaves, if someone goes and does something else, if someone tells me they're going to do something and they don't do it, heaven forbid. Have you ever done something you said that you were going to do and then you didn't follow through? Everyone wants grace, but the challenge is sometimes we have a challenge giving grace. So what if it wasn't personal? What if it was just like, okay, that's the choice they're making. And hey man, I still think you're an amazing dude and I'm still here for you. And so still sending them invites, still including them in my text blast, still letting them know, hey man, and just out of the blue, Andy is a master at this. Like there have been times when I may have been off the rails. I mean, trust me, I've been off the rails lots of different times, but there's been times I've been off the rails and Andy hadn't heard from me, and I just get this text out of the blue. Hey buddy, just thinking about you. How you doing? Noel does that all the time. Hey man, you okay? Hey, what's happening? And it's just letting people know that you're there. And sometimes everyone goes through stuff. So if we can realize that everyone's going through stuff, and maybe it's a timing thing. And so if they know that you got their back and that you're going to be there regardless of what they are or are not doing, the crazy thing is that a lot of times the really good ones will come back around and just out of the blue reach out and say, hey man, are you still hiring? Are you still I had someone do that 2 weeks ago. Hey man, I know I hadn't talked to you in a couple years, but are you still looking for people? I'm like, well, yeah, absolutely, bro. How you doing? Just started talking to him. Had a guy in Albuquerque out at the boot camp we did a couple weeks ago that was in depth 5 years ago. And it was crazy because Mike Leventovich had just reached out to him out of the blue in a text that just said, hey man, how you doing? And this guy had moved from Denver down to Albuquerque. And so I got to have coffee with him and just reconnect with the guy. I have no idea if something's going to come of it. I think it will, because he got to meet Noel again and he got to meet Gina again. And all of a sudden it's just like, hey, the secret is in getting your people, around the people. Yeah. So if we can just keep loving on people and then not take it personal, and the people who are earning your time, spend more time with them. But hey, if it's 11 o'clock at night and you're like, hey, what am I doing? Okay, I can scroll through Instagram, or I can go back through my list of agents I haven't talked to forever. And I'm like, man, I wonder if that dude, hey buddy, just thinking about you. How you doing? Hey man, just thinking about you. So absolutely. I hope that helps, man.
No, that was rocking, dude. I appreciate that. here's my rule of thumb in being in this business, 23 years and similar businesses for over 30, is that whenever you get mad at people in your organization because you're not where you want to be, that's the minute your business goes backward and you're going to lose your team. And that's what I've learned when I've been angry at people because I'm frustrated at I'm not where I need to be. Well, really, I've reframed that, and I just need to help more people. This is not the right person that needs my help right now. I'm going to find someone else that I can pour into and help. Because the only reason why I ever move up is because I've helped more people move up and make this thing happen. I've served more, given myself away, whether they're on my team or not. That's one thing I've learned. I give myself away to people that are not even on my team that are needing help. And I found my business grows from that. So, hey, Joseph Dukes, have fun. Have a mic on me. And like I said, man, don't get arrested down there in Mexico.
No, sir. The only thing I brought was a pocket knife. I'm good.
We call those nail clippers. Anyway, man, my buddy, you guys got some nuggets from my main man, Joseph Dukes. All right, I'm going to introduce my friend, Dennis Lyons. Going to talk about conventions. Dennis, let's rock.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I got to say, to be on here with Joe and Jake and you, Alex, what a great way to get the day going and everything and the weekend. And thanks for inviting me. I also want to, you mentioned doing an event just recently in Chicago with Andy, and buddy, you've been down here into Central Florida a couple times now, and we have had some great meetings with you, and I just want to thank you for doing that. And I encourage everybody. You get an opportunity to get around the leaders in the company. Man, things start to happen that are whole new level. You were blowing. I had a lot of people there at our last couple meetings in Orlando. You were blowing their minds in this last one. You wouldn't believe the conversations we've had afterwards when it talks about product utilization and approaching people about doing different things with them to sell more insurance. Thank you, Alex. It is over the top. And I've got people, man, they're spinning things up, trying to create new pathways of doing business. You know how you get that? You get that by attending meetings. And I'll kind of expand that and I'll say, it's not just the meetings, it's our calls. It's like this meeting, right? But where you really get that stuff is when you get an opportunity to rub hands with people and rub shoulders, right? And go have a meal or have a break and sit there and kid around and get to know people and understand they're the same as you and I are. Because all of us, especially, when I started in this, and this was, I've been in sales in different ways. I've always been an entrepreneur, but there's some distinct differences in this type of business and pretty much anything else I've ever done. So certainly I've had skills and past training. I've had things in my past that I've been able to apply to this business, but man, have I had a lot to learn. And again, the only way to really accelerate that process is by getting around other successful people and modeling my activities after theirs. Just listening to Jake and Joe today, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to work on that. Oh yeah, let me write that down, right? If you see me at one of the events, and you will if you come, I'm recording those sessions. I got them on my phone because I want to listen to them again. I'm sitting there with a notebook making notes over key points. I'm writing down names of people that I want to walk up to and thank them, shake their hand. Hey, Mark, I met you, right? Mark Casetta. I gave him he wants to learn Italian. So I gave him an app to help him learn Italian. Now I've got something to talk to Mark about and I can ask him another question, in
Italian.
So, I do things like that. I was thinking about, what we control and what we don't control personally. And I'm going to reference Andy's book, Inside the Circle of You, but it's also it's also the green book, right? Millionaire Maker, because attend all events. One of the things I could control is whether or not I participate in the things that are going to make me successful. When I signed my agreement, my agent agreement with the guy who recruited me into this team, I had not met you. I had not met Patrick. Now I'm direct to Patrick, and I signed my agreement. I gave the guy a call. I said, "Hey, I just signed my agreement. Okay, you got it approved right away." And I asked him, I said, "I understand there's an event occurring, a convention at our corporate headquarters in Burlington, like next week. And my question was, can I come?" And it's because my background told me that that is where I meet people and learn how to do things. Now, again, I've had a lot of that type of experience, so I gravitated towards that type of an approach. Man, it was an incredible experience for me. And I've been to a lot of world-class events. The Alliance puts them on second to none, second to none. And I remember the first time here we had I think a couple thousand people there, and I was in awe. I was kind of like in shock, and I was trying to absorb as much of everything as I could. And there's so much going on. It goes from rock concert to church service to rock concert to incredible teaching, to experiential things, to social interaction with people. The ability to look at somebody like yourself and say, "Hey, bud, you got a little bit of ketchup on your tie." Things. Any of those kind of casual things that just helps make us feel at home and realize that we're a big family. So I went to this first event, and I distinctly remember I told Andy this story a couple weeks ago, and he remembered it. And I was there by myself. I really didn't know anybody, and we were having a break. And here's Andy. I was headed to a bathroom, and Andy was walking 30, 40 feet in front of me, and he had like 6 or 7 people around him, and they're talking. They're all talking. And as we're all walking, he's keeping that distance. He looks over his shoulder and he sees me back there. And I guess he realized he didn't know who I was. And I learned this is the kind of guy Andy is. He wants to know the people in his team. And I don't care if you're a brand new agent or you've been around 20 years, you're somebody who's on his team. And he respects you for that. Now, it may be challenging the way he respects you, but he respects you for that. And he looks over his shoulder, sees me behind, walking along, didn't recognize me. He takes a few more steps, then he stops. And everybody stops. And then he turns around and he starts beelining right back to me. And so as he's coming to me, I kind of stop. Andy approaches me, sticks his hand out and says, "Hey, Bo, I'm Andy Albright," right? And that was my first time meeting Andy. And it was just so casual and real. And I'll tell you, I tell new agents all the time, you get to these events, you're going to meet Andy. You let me know you're going to be there. If it's a hot spot someplace, I will let him know that you're going to be there. I guarantee you that he's going to make a point to meet you. And that's critical. Being connected to the people and leadership in the company. And I tell people now that from the top down, and I look at that story with the first time I met Andy, from the top down, everybody's interested in investing in you if you're going to invest in yourself. Just like Joe was saying, I think Jake spoke about it a little bit. I do the same thing. If people are investing in themselves, and that means time, questions, money, engagement in activities, right? Those are all investments. I'm going to invest too. And if I see you doing that, I'm going to participate with you. My goal is to help you. And I haven't been around anywhere near as long as you or Joe, or a lot of other people, but in the company. But I've been around long enough that I'm getting a sense as to what makes people successful in the company and what makes people fall away from the company. And it's a real simple sauce, man. It's a simple thing. It's controlling that circle of you, doing the steps. I got to get up and I do the activities kind of thing. Like step one, keep putting a foot in front of another. Some days may seem like you're in molasses. Other days may seem like you're on a racetrack. But you every day you can put a foot in front of the next one. But you stay engaged, you invest in yourself, and all these people in the company are going to be open to helping you no matter what. And I had an agent, who was it? He told me the other day, he said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go over your head. I just called and I got Alex on the phone." And I said, "You did?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Yeah." And he took my call. And I said, "Well, how was it?" And he said, "We talked for about an hour." He said, "We had a great conversation." I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, he wants you to reach out to him with something that you need help with. And so going to these events helps grease the path to being able to do that. Because you're going to meet Alex. You're going to meet Jake. You're going to meet Joe. You're going to meet Andy. You're going to meet other leaders in the company that really make a difference for you. You have to be intentional in the things that you want to do here. So, and it goes without question in all aspects of the business. Now, believe me, when I say these things, I think, again, Jake made a comment like this too. I'm talking to myself too, because every day I have to work on these same things. I have to work on being intentional. So intentional means I have to intentionally set appointments. I have to intentionally go out and see people and look to put them in a better situation or the best situation that I can. And I have to intentionally work on ways to build my business. That's as big a part as the sales. Some people tell me, we hear this all the time. Joe mentioned it, I want when I get to where you're at, then I can start bringing people in. No. I'm not where I need to be, and I'm bringing people in. It's part of my growth. These are things that you will accelerate, again, through better association in all meetings. The next event we have coming up here is the View from the Edge. We were just in Dallas in January. What a great event! I love it because, and I'll go ahead and tell this real quick. Jose Compton and I were at breakfast one morning across the street from the hotel, and we're sitting there. We had a great waitress, and she comes over. I start recruiting her, and then Jose jumps in. Now we're competing, right? And so we recruited her, and she laughed and she said, "There was some other guy in here trying to recruit me," and we figured out it was Eric Belair, and but we got her. She's on our team, right? So that kind of an opportunity exists no matter where you're at. You run into this in the hotels and think, "Oh, everybody's tried to recruit me." Yeah, okay, all right. Well, here's my card, right? Call me. What's your number? We do that kind of thing, but we're really trying to honestly share the opportunity with people intentionally. Our next event, we had Dallas, like I said. Our next event is coming up in Denver, 2 days in a row, and it's called View from the Edge. We were on a call Tuesday night with Patrick, and 2 of my new recruits were on there. Both of them, one of them an agent, another one not. And my agent had a guest on. "Hey, can I get her? Can she come?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk right after this event or after this call." So we did. We got her coming to the View from the Edge. And so far, I get excited about this. I think we're going to fill up 2, maybe 3 Airbnbs with people coming in to the event. We're adding people now. The event is April 21 through the 23rd. We're all coming in a day early, and we're going to stay Monday. We'll leave Monday. We'll fly out Monday to our respective homes, except for Jose. He'll drive. And I'm very excited about this. And I'm as excited about both aspects of the event, and those 2 aspects are the training with Mark Cassetta and the other people that are going to be involved in training for us, and the association is even just as important. Again, as I've touched on a few times, the relationships, the things you learn, the ability to pick up a phone and call somebody in the Alliance for help, or how did you deal with that? It could be just really simple. But we support each other, and you learn that more and more through these events. The setting expectations, a couple of us have talked about this. Setting expectations begins with me. I have to have expectations of myself, and then I have to demonstrate them to people. Believe me, I could have a better work ethic. I could handle my calendar better. My sales can be better, my every aspect of what I do in this business could be better. But there are people on my team who will say, you're the hardest working man I've ever known. I could work harder. And I learned that through going to these events. I learned how to work smarter going to these events. Sometimes, I think Andy was talking about it just the other day. I know he and I have talked about it before. Sometimes it's just that little bit extra. They were talking about it in Denver. They did a demonstration. How far is it from where you are to where you want to be? And you set that goal. Well, it's just that little. It's 1 or 2% more that makes things start to move and work the way you want to, and then your business begins to explode and grow. And these are exciting things, and we learn how normal all the other people are by going to these events. So I just encourage people, if you're on my team, you're on other teams, get with your upline, figure out how you need to get there. If you need to motivate somebody to organize and get extra, if you can't get a hotel room, there's Airbnbs out there. I was looking again today. You may have to drive 15 minutes, big deal. We're renting a van. So I'm excited about what's coming up, and I hope everybody on the call will come to Denver, and I'd like to meet you guys.
That's awesome, Dennis. Appreciate it, man. Licensed List Conference, and that's LLC or convention. And thank you, Dennis. Very well said. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to go nerd on you. First of all, let me share this. The last date for the $399 View from the Edge ticket is March 14th. So hustle and get your ticket now. One thing that your upline, your growing upline will be impressed with is that you made the investment. I know for my team, I said, if you're brand new to the Alliance, never been to an event, if you buy your plane ticket, I'll buy your ticket, right? You buy your plane ticket, then I'll buy your ticket. But whatever you need to motivate your group, because they don't know what they don't know. Now, if they've been to a function before and they decide not to go, well, look, an event, you know what you're working with, right? But if they've never been, you do everything you can. You invest everything emotionally, money-wise into them to get them there, because you don't know what you really have until someone gets to an event. Okay, so anyway, so let's move on. I was talking to my buddy, Captain Steve Mermides of the USS Mermides. I said, dude, what should I go nerd on him? He goes, make it so, number one. So my buddy Steve, Captain Steve. So I'm going to go nerd on you a little bit. And I think hopefully this is a little bit of a riff off a video that I put out there called the 5 Emotional Cycles of Change. And I think a lot of you could probably relate to this. because if you've been in the up and down business of getting into businesses, the serial entrepreneur, right? You start one MLM and it's not working, so you go to the next MLM, or you go to the next business idea, you go to the next thing until you land the right one, right? Well, you will all know and understand this emotional cycle of change. So the first one is uninformed optimism. So you see the opportunity, you're all jacked up, fired up, you're excited because you're like imagining all the things you could have in your life, but you haven't experienced yet the cost of getting there, because you're just looking at it as a concept that you in your mind think will work, but you have no idea what price you're going to have to pay. Okay. It's uninformed. You see all the benefits of changing, but you see none of the downsides. Okay. And so then, whoops, go back. So the second one is informed pessimism, because you get into this stage when you start figuring out this isn't as easy as you thought, right? You learn the reality that it takes work, it takes rejection. Those calls didn't go as well as you thought it would, as good as they show. Your upline's making calls, it's not going the same for you. And you start getting into from optimism to a negative emotional state. And you start thinking, gosh, I thought I could get all the stuff I wanted, but these benefits it doesn't seem as real, or it becomes not as important because of the price you're realizing that you have to pay. Then you're wondering, man, is it worth it? Is this change really worth it? And then you start coming up with reasons, to abandon this opportunity. And the one I hear all the time from Christians, right? Christians are the worst. Well, maybe God doesn't want me to do this. And so you put it on God. I'm going, oh my gosh. Remember a guy named Jesus Christ? Oh man. Anyway. And so it's quick to go from informed pessimism now to the valley of despair. How many of us have been there? The lowest point of the emotional cycle is the valley of despair. And this is when people give up, man. The pain of change is felt and the benefits seem so far away, and then it loses importance because you realize it's going to take more than what you think you have to give. And then you start questioning yourself, did I do the right thing? And so this is where people quit. And here's what happens is when people quit, they go back to the next thing, and the next thing they get involved with, they get excited. So they go back to stage one, uninformed optimism, and then they dip into informed pessimism. They go to the valley of despair, and then they quit again. And so your agents that have been with, all these 3 and 4 letter IMOs, they've gone through this cycle. And you're wondering, I always ask them, so why do you think we're going to be better? And there are legit reasons why they want to leave that other IMO, but sometimes they bring their baggage with them. And so you getting those people started, the retreads, you have a different type of person to work with because they've gone through the cycle several times, okay? Right? But then if you can get them believing that stay one more day, one more week to the next TWC, to the next activity call, to the next boot camp, they can start seeing a few wins. You get them a win, they start moving to stage 4, right? To informed optimism, because now they're seeing some wins. They're getting some sales. They're working through the stuff that held them back and starting to believe more. Then finally, they're rocking the house with successful fulfillment because they know it works. They really finally believe it for themselves, right, that they can do it, okay? So the real key when you're talking about getting people started is how can you help them through stage 2 and stage 3? That's our job as upline, is if they're still willing to hang in there, how can we help them get through stage 2 and stage 3 so they don't quit, right? So here's how you do it. It's called ladder of belief, okay? And you got to get them up the ladder of belief because this is the only way that they're going to get out of stage 2 and stage 3. They have to believe in the alliance. When they start with us, The only reason why they started with us is they believe that the alliance is going to work. Then we edify Andy and believe that Andy, our leader, is going to help them make their business grow and help them become successful. The next ladder is belief in you, the upline, that you're going to help them, you're going to train them, you're going to be there for them. And the final one is belief in themselves that they can do it. If you can work an agent up the ladder of belief, you can get them through stage 2 and stage 3. So what are ways that you can do that? Okay. The first way is, as Dennis said, promote events. You got to get them to the next event, okay, and meeting, right? And so if they're going through their licensing or if they're going through whatever, you need to be great at promoting the belief in the alliance through getting them on the TWCs, right? Like Terry Edwards rocked the TWC, man. When he had his people on there, I was like all fired up. Terry just has this appeal that just is something that I don't have. I don't have that Terry Edwards thing. Like after you got done with the Terry Edwards Zoom call, you feel like you've been to church, you know what I'm saying? You know, and your people that appeal to that style, it's like, thank God Terry's doing it, you know, because they're going to love him. So promoting that people get on the TWC, the activity calls, like what we're doing today, all the website tools that are available at their disposal. Can you imagine taking someone through all the tools? How can they not believe that the Alliance knows what they're doing, how we can help them? Man, local training, local boot camps, you get them to anything that is done locally, you know, an Andy Albright boot camp, getting them around the people is going to do so much to keeping them in and building their belief in the Alliance. We've got a great website, NEA-TV has all kinds of training. We have Alliance University, which rocks some of the best training in the world, in my opinion. Then we got our people, the staff that supports us. Gina Hawks, our Master Blaster Jedi Knight trainer. We got BAM, right? Chris Norris and BAM. We got Jeff Bright, right? We got Mark Aceta. We've got the best staff in the world to help our people through stage 2 and stage 3, right? So what's the next belief level? Belief in Andy Albright, right? So how do we do that? We promote events because we know Andy's going to be at the event and they're going to be most influenced in a big room with big enthusiasm, big music. Everything's big at an event. And that's what's going to blow their minds, right? You need to get them there, right? To build their belief in Andy Albright. Andy boot camps. Man, you go to a boot camp, they either believe in Andy or they don't. If they don't believe in Andy, well then, you know what? Maybe they're not worth working with. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have to keep apologizing for Andy Albright, there's something wrong with you and your mindset. If you have to do that, then maybe you shouldn't be with the Alliance. You know, if you have to keep apologizing for Andy, it's like, well, Andy, like, he's from North Carolina and he's really kind of a casual guy. He's not your typical CEO. It's like, dude, that's the beauty of Andy Albright, that he's not like those guys, right? Anyway, that's just my humble but accurate opinion. Edification, man. Edify Andy with stories, how he's helped you personally. I've got tons of them. I talk about that. The business he's built. He's an integrity partner. His awesome family, Spencer and Haley, and the things they've been able to do, and Brandon Manley, right? North Carolina State, the things he's done for them. His own personal story, right? I remember the story, the kid with the belly button. You got to hear Andy's story, hear Andy talk about the kid with the belly button. Then, of course, his lovely wife, Jane, who's the foundation and rock of the Alliance, in my opinion, you know. But you have to be great at promoting and edifying Andy so they can build their belief in Andy. Next one, they got to really believe that you're going to help them, right? And so how you build their belief in you is you serve them. You do stuff for them that their own family wouldn't do for them, right? If you can do a ride-along or arrange ride-alongs with people that are local to them. And this is why you need to be plugged into the network of people all over the country where your people are so you can get them the help they need, right? One-on-one coaching, right? In other words, pick up the damn phone. When your downline calls you and you're trying to get this attitude of, well, I don't want them to think I'm always available. It's like, dude, you're available, pick up the damn phone. Don't pretend to your team like you're super busy because you won't answer the phone. That's the one that's my pet peeve. Pick up the damn phone, because I'm picking up the phone for your people. I'm walking, I'm getting coffee, and I've got a downline downline is 50 levels deep calling me, because they can't get a hold of you. I pick up my damn phone, so you pick up your damn phone. Okay, check in on them, show them that you care, right? Build their business, get underneath them, build their downline, build their business. See, you get them started two ways. You get them started, but you get their business started. And this is what we're talking about: building depth underneath, getting their list, build their business. They'll believe in you. And then here's the final one. The final one is belief in themselves. Help them feel that they matter. People will remember how you made them feel. They won't necessarily remember what you said, but if you give them the feeling that they matter, they're going to stick with us longer to get through stage 2 and 3, right? Sometimes you got to, how you say what you say, you got to do it with love, right? With the intention of helping them, not with the intention of overriding them, right? It's the intentionality that will come out in how you treat them. Sometimes that love for your group, for your person you're trying to help, is sometimes it has to be tough love. Levin Tovich is the master of tough love, but he does it because he loves his people. Man, don't get into sympathy. Alex, these leads suck. Why do they suck? Is it the lead, or maybe is it you? Don't ever sympathize with your downline. Stop them talking about their problems. My gosh, when they start talking about their problems, they get to hear it again, and then you get to hear it. Andy's the master at stopping people from talking about their problems, and let's get to the solution. It's kind of like a kid going through a tantrum. The only way to get them out of the tantrum is redirect their mind to something else. You got to stop them from talking about their problems. Expect them to win. Don't look down on them like they're losers. Expect them to win. They're all winners. It's just you got to chip away at the crap outside that's keeping that winner inside of them from coming out. Get them a win. You got to get them paid. Get them paid in the first, second week. And then finally, dude, do that. You be the example. You be the example. You're a great example when you're helping 10 other people alongside them. If they think you're the only person, they're the only person you're working with, how can they respect you? They'll respect your time. You've got 10 other people you're working with. So you got to recruit, serve multiple people, then everyone would value your time. So I think that's it. All right, gang. Well, I appreciate y'all. I'm over time, so apologize for that. God bless you, man. And by the way, shout out to Kevin Lewis. I wanted to show Kevin that I could actually tie a real bow tie. God bless everyone. We'll see you at View from the Edge. Remember, March 14th, last time to get that $3.99 ticket. Then the prize goes up. So thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Dennis Lyons, for being part of my party. And thank you, Andy and Jane Albright, for loving me and helping me and Jenny get through some of the toughest times in our lives. And appreciate y'all. God bless, man. Take care.